Hello and welcome back to the HYPE Bulletin, hosted by yours truly, Ralph Mentor. Again, if you guys are listening or watching and listening on the YouTube side, please subscribe. Please press on the subscribe button. I'll never get that right, but please subscribe on that subscribe button to help support the podcast. And again, if you guys are listening on Apple or Spotify or any podcast platforms, please leave a rating and to help support the podcast. Again, I will never get that intro right and all, but let's get into it. Mind you, the Knicks have called, I think, another 3 coaches for their head coaching shop and all, and they still can't get an interview so far going on. We all know about the Jason Kidds and the Ime Udokas and all too as well, but apparently Billy Donovan has been or the Chicago Bulls have been contacted for Billy Donovan and all, and what's another one? The Atlanta Hawks were contacted for their boy Quinn Snyder and all too as well. I'm sleeping on somebody else too as well that they've contacted for their job and all too as well, but it's a total of 5 so far that we know about, at least in all public knowledge wise too as well. So that's funny. But let's get into the NBA Finals real quick and all. Like I said, I was trying to do a game per game episode. That's not happening. Seems like too as well. And after game 2, as a resident OKC hater and all too as well, there wasn't enough passion enough to drop an episode after that blowout game 2 as well. Credit to OKC at least and all. Show the credit of their desperation at least and all too as well in game 2 and all. But they may have to show it again in this upcoming game 4 later today and all. We are recording on June 13th. Right now on a Friday and all too as well, and game 4 will be tonight. I think 8:30 or something like that tonight. But I really wanted to do an episode as a resident Pacers fan right now too as well. After that game 3 and all too as well, and as you can see, if you guys are watching on the YouTube side, you can see the thumbnails of a theme I got going right now too for the Pacers and all. I hope they can complete it as much as the Celtics completed it last season and all too as well. If you want to peep the episode journey of last season and all too as well. But Pacers had themselves a big win in game 3 at Indy and all too as well. And again, credit to OKC and all. It's not like they didn't show up. They had themselves a 5-point lead, had a great end to the third quarter of that game 3 too as well, honestly. But you got to credit Indiana's bench, honestly, too as well. Again, in the first quarter, with a slow start and all for Oklahoma, I think they still ended up having like an 8-point lead going into the second quarter and all too. It was like a 32-24 lead, honestly, too as well. Chet Holmgren had himself a big first quarter too as well, honestly, with 13 points, if I remember correctly too as well, honestly. A slow start for Shea, at least and all, but the team definitely got, I mean, Chet, I would say for sure, really got going for them in the first quarter and all. But again, to Indy's bench and all too as well, Ben Mather ended up having 27 points and all. But I'm talking about TJ McConnell and all with his, I think in the first half at least, he had 2 inbound steals and all too as well. But just brought in a different pace of that game and all. Unfortunately, I missed some of the second quarter because I was watching most of the Red Sox game too as well. So it was more on Twitter and what I was hearing at least and all. Then highlights when I suddenly got into the second half at least and all. But huge second half for him, honestly. Ben Mather had himself a big half. I think he was the leading scorer for the Pacers going into the second half too as well, honestly. And like I said, he ended up having 27 points for the Pacers and all. But their bench was huge. Technical difficulties for that and all. I'll fix that all up and all. But yeah, mentioning the Pacers bench going into the second quarter and all, I mentioned Ben Mather and then TJ McConnell and all, but Obi Toppin. Wow, I was really trying to say OG Toppin again. But Obi Toppin, yeah, can't get it. But Obi Toppin had himself another great game, honestly, too, as well as a role player at least and all too. So I think he contributed. How many points did he contribute? Let's bring up the stats of this game and all. So before I keep going, it's all on my internet. How fast and how slow can it be? Oh, wait, 18? No, my bad. 8 points, my bad. But a plus 18 at least and all too as well. But yeah, had himself a great impact for the game too as well. Ben Shepherd too as well, honestly, because now I'm stuck on these Pacer bench plays. But Andrew Nembhard, who showed up again, honestly. But Andrew Nembhard, Neesmith, and Siakam all of them had foul trouble and all. And again, you gotta credit Rick Carlisle, honestly. As soon as those guys got their third foul late in the second quarter, and Obi Toppin came in for Siakam and all, like I said, was a great contributor to what they did did in Game 3 and all. Ben Mathurin came in for Neesmith and had himself an all-time game, honestly, too, as well, honestly. And what's it called there? And yeah, Nemham got himself into foul trouble. And they were to use Shepard and TJ McConnell at times, too, as well, honestly, in different scenarios. Shepard defensive-wise, especially. TJ McConnell defensive-wise because of the inbound stuff and all. But he was offering a whole lot more, offensively, at least, and all, too, as well, with his playmaking and all, too, as well. I think he only had like 2 points or something. Right, what did he end up with? Oh, he had 10 points. All right, my bad. He had 10 points at least. Now, I know in the first half, it was mostly just impact plays and all, too, as well. A couple of assists, obviously, off those inbound steals, at least, and all, too, as well. But, yeah, the Indiana's bench was extraordinary in the second quarter, honestly. When you saw that Miles Turner, again, was kind of struggling and all. But we'll mention him, what he did in the second half, at least, and all. But in the first half, primarily, at least, and all, the offense kind of struggled for the starters, at least, and all, too. So Haliburton wasn't as aggressive as he was in the second half, at least, and all, too, as well, honestly. So a big shout out to the Indiana Pacers bench. They were the reason why they had themselves a lead going into the second half and all. They had themselves a lead. I believe they had a lead going into the second half. And it was close, at least, not too, as well. Even though OKC ended up losing this game, they still showed up big time, honestly, too, as well. Going into the third quarter, at least, and all, too, as well. Ben Mathurin continued to show up. Tyrese Haliburton starting to be more aggressive, at least, and all, too, as well, honestly. But still, OKC ended up having themselves a 5-point lead going into the fourth quarter, at least. And it's a big shout out, too, to Jalen Williams, who ended up having 27 points in this game. Let me see. 26 points in this game, too, as well. Big missed free throws, and now we're getting to the fourth quarter, at least, and all, too, as well, because that's when Isaiah Hartenstein, my bad. That's when, we'll bring up a note, too, as well, honestly, about him, because I think he only had 18 minutes. Yeah, he only played 18 minutes in this game. But wanted to mention Tyrese Haliburton, honestly, the Haliban, what they're calling him on the internet right now, too, as well. But had himself a huge fourth quarter again, honestly, too, as well. Ended up having, I think, 22 points in there. Had a big step back three. He started throwing out his floater a bit more, especially in the third quarter. I think it really, helped towards his rhythm, honestly, towards the going into the fourth quarter and towards the end of the game, honestly, too, as well, with his shot making, too, as well, honestly. You can give a big shout out to even the Pacers defense, honestly, too, as well, in this game. I really thought they were cutting in through the passing lanes throughout the game, honestly, too. Haliburton had himself a big steal and a breakaway dunk, honestly, too, as well, honestly. So I feel like the Pacers defense was huge in this game, having the OKC Thunder, I believe, had 19 turnovers, and I wanted to bring up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, at least in the fourth quarter. He had 3 points. I don't say it's more of him choking or anything like that. It's just a shout-out to the Pacers defense, honestly. Nembhard, again, had himself a great game, even with the 3 fouls in the first half, was able to keep himself in the game throughout the whole time, too, as well, honestly. Just a great overall game for the Pacers, even with OKC showing up, honestly, too, as well. I am questioning Mark Dagnall and just not playing Isaiah Hartenstein more, honestly. This is Friday morning, so I'm just watching Get Up, honestly, too, for the preview of Game 4, honestly. And again, I think one of the contributors made a good point about using Isaiah Hartenstein more in pick screens, at least on twos. Well, Chet Holmgren does not give up the physical, factors and all, and I was going to mention it, too, as well. Miles Turner did a great job defensively in the fourth quarter and offensively, too, as well, of shit ton more physical offensively and all. I think he had himself a nice basket in the paint, honestly, in the fourth quarter and all, and had himself a huge block on a Chet Holmgren 3, honestly, and then the block again when Chet Holmgren was trying to take that block shot and drive to the basket before the shot clock violation, and Miles Turner had himself a big block again and was able to stop that and all, too. It was also a big step up and all after his very lackluster first half, at least, and all, too, as well. I feel like his shot is mad flat and all, too, as well. I'm hoping he can figure it out because he's open for these shots, but he's coming up mad flat on his shot. But still, it's the second time for Miles Turner in a Game 1 and now in Game 3, just stepping up big time with that big bank shot, honestly, in Game 1, honestly, and then doing what he did in Game 3, stepping up offensively and all, too, as well, finally hitting some big shots, honestly. I think he hit a big mid-range shot, too, honestly. And then that huge block, those huge 2 blocks, I should say, on Chet Holmgren towards the end of the game, really helping cinch the win for the Pacers, honestly, too, as well. There is a big conversation about pace and all, too, as well. Can OKC keep up? I say they can keep up, but it's not their strength, honestly, too, as well. They obviously have the talent to keep up with it, but you can just look at it in the fourth quarter, too, as well, especially with a chance for them to make it a one-possession game. We had Jalen Williams and Cason Wallace missing free throws for the OKC Thunder. Like, again, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander only had 3 points, and I don't think it was him like not showing up at least and all too. So I just think the Pacers are kind of wearing them out guard wise. Honestly, I expected Mather and Neesmith to really maybe make some noise defensively against Shea. And all, I am shocked and I'm very disappointed that I didn't see that Andrew Nembhard could actually guard Shea. And all too as well, both being Canadian. Now just finding out they're from the same neighborhood too as well, so they've obviously faced each other through countless times. Honestly, they're both probably 26 years old, so they've probably seen each other for 10 to 12 years at least, not too as well, going back to high school days, I'm presuming at least, not too as well, and it looks like it. The way Nembhard is a good defender. It's not like he was a slouch defender anyway, but I thought at least, no, that, I want to say Gang's delicious, but Shea has the clear height advantage at 6'6", and I think Nembhard's probably 6'3", 6'4", and he's giving him trouble, honestly, too, as well, on his stomach, on his hips at least, not too as well, like really making it tough at least, so when he does create space, and even though Shea is great with his mid-range and all too as well, probably a well-balanced shot, honestly, too, as well, probably one of the best, mid-range shots in the game, honestly, too, as well. Just enough physicality that Andrew Nembhard is offering, at least, and I feel like it's throwing Shea off, a bit with his shot, at least, and obviously with the fatigue factor, I feel like played a part in only Game 3. I won't say it's a factor going forward, at least, and I'll preview Game 4, at least, too, as well, but still, I still think, it is a factor that the way Andrew Nembhard is able to stay on his hips, able to get onto his stomach, his midsection, at least, pause, at least, too, as well. But just even though he's unable to defend his shot because of the lack of height, at least, too, as well, his physicality, at least, at least around the core, at least, is throwing Shea off, in my opinion, with at least fatigue in Game 3, at least, too, as well, and bothering a bit, too, as well. You see the little, elbow shoves, friendly, I mean, I'm not saying anything violent or anything coming from Shea, at least, but still, he is getting a bit frustrated with Nembhard on his hip consistently, continuously, too, as well, honestly, for them. So, yeah, big shout out to the Indiana Pacers defense. I really think it contributed to the fourth quarter, too, as well, honestly, even though they were scoring the ball, tremendously, honestly, in the fourth quarter, highlighted with Tyrese Haliburton for sure, honestly, too, as well. His big step back three, I really thought really just carried their momentum over into the second half of the fourth quarter, where the Pacers, OKC was still keeping themselves in the game. Indiana was missing some shots, honestly, so they were playing clean offensively, at least, but they're just making some big shots towards the end, at least, so a huge win. Now the Pacers are up 2-1 on the presumably best team in the NBA, at least, too, as well. It's got me thoroughly enjoying the NBA as a Celtics fan, at least, not being disappointed that they're not in this position. If they were healthy, clearly would have had a chance of going back to back, at least, but you get it, at least, too, as well. Honestly, the Pacers are well deserving to be in this position. OKC too, honestly. So, but as a fan that likes basketball, at least, we talk about. It's just for me having a little tangent, at least, for me to be hating on OKC once again, at least, the way we're knocking the Knicks, at least, for their one-on-one basketball play, at least, not so long ago in the conference finals, and I just feel like OKC is very similar. They are deep as hell. They are a defensive team too, a supreme, I should say, defensive team, at least, not too as well. But there is a lot of one-on-one, even with Jalen Williams, when they decide to get off of Shea, use Jalen Williams. He is a good playmaker. Even Shea too, they're good playmakers, but it still revolves around their best players dribble. And I remember the Celtics, my Celtics teams being dissed over the past couple seasons about it too as well, honestly. So as me giving context to my hating on OKC, I just feel like they're a flawed team compared to teams of the past, at least, that the media and others would talk about, at least, too, as well. I feel like, obviously, Indiana is more of a team-oriented team. It's a team that I've jumped on, but I at least jumped on the bandwagon since the seeds were out, and I looked at the landscape, what team I would like to see win a championship and all. I picked the Pacers easily, honestly, too, as well. Fresh blood, too, as well, honestly. And they've been close before, honestly, because of last year, honestly. Number 2 would have been Minnesota, because of the same reasons, honestly, too, as well. The Knicks, I feel like, have fluked themselves into conference finals and all too as well. And I feel like OKC, this run, at least, and all too as well, it's a great run. It's a testament of Presti and what he does behind the scenes, at least, not drafting all that sense, but still basketball wise, at least, not too as well. I'm more of a fan of what Indy does, honestly, too, as well. There's questions about Tyrese Haliburton being a superstar, and I just think he's a superstar because he's not sitting there dropping 30 points every game, at least. No, I don't think it doesn't make him less of a superstar, at least, not too as well. I think that's a weird part of this conversation, at least, not too as well. But that's just my little tangent about where my fandom is in this series, at least. No, I'm surprised to still have this energy to be putting out podcast episodes on the NBA outside the Boston Celtics, at least, not too as well, because I am a big fan of how the Indianers play basketball too as well. And like I mentioned with Rick Carlisle, what he did with the bench honestly too as well, and the foul trouble he was dealing with in the first half at least and all. He's done a great job honestly throughout these playoffs and all. Did a great job last year too as well with the injuries that they were dealing with too. No Ben Mather, and Tyrese Haliburton ended up being out for the second half of the Eastern Conference Finals, and they were in both of those games at home honestly too as well without any of their best players and all, just outside of Pascal Siakam I guess. And all too, when they were in those basketball games against the Boston Celtics in those conference finals and all, and I think me and many other Celtics fans have felt that was the best part of the series that the Celtics faced last year in the postseason and all too as well. So again, just a little tangent on my context and who I'm cheering for the series at least and all too as well. But again, it's a great game for the Indiana Pacers and all. OKC again, they did show up honestly. I really think fatigue really played out. At the end of this game, honestly, I gave the Indiana Pacers credit. I think after game one, honestly, too, as well, just how either when the opponent scores or misses, they bring the ball up over half court with 20 seconds left on the shot clock and all too. So you're creating rhythm and extra possessions, in my opinion, when you're doing that and all. If you're getting the ball over in 20 seconds and your shot's going up in 10 seconds and all, you got 10 seconds left. There's 10 seconds extra and all too. So where they're gonna get the ball back and they're gonna press it again, do it again. There's an extra 20 seconds and all. I really think it influences why they play so well in the fourth quarter. And again, you saw it again and all too as well. Even though they got blown out in game two and all, I was impressed with their first half and how they stayed connected with the OKC Thunder. The OKC Thunder have shown the ability of blowing you out 30, 40, or even 50 points in a basketball game. Indiana, even though they did get beat and were losing by double digits for most of that game in game two, they've shown the ability to stay connected with OKC that other teams in this postseason honestly were unable to do. Honestly, I think even after the game one loss against Denver, OKC proceeded to blow them out by a shit ton. I don't know. Let me not presume. We got the bracket right here. I can look it up real quick if the Wi-Fi wants to be well with me honestly. But let's see. Game after, there we go. After the game one loss to Denver, they sat there and scored 150 points, 149 specifically, but 150 points on Denver, honestly, to make sure they won that game, honestly. When I look at game two against the Pacers and all, just to get the specific score, I know they won going away at least, but they only scored 123, which is impressive. But again, Indiana was connected at 107, honestly, too, as well, honestly. So that's why, it is showing that Indiana can play with this team and all. And now going into my Game 4 preview, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a blowout by the Pacers, in my opinion, honestly. They played well, I believe, this whole series, honestly. Even though when you look at Game 2 and you look at the score at least, I feel like they competed well enough to stay in that game 15 to 20 points, where it could have been a 25, 30, 35 point lead, which OKC presumably does throughout the season in this postseason. Though Indiana was able to avoid that. They're home. OKC came with it too as well, honestly. You saw how OKC played on a short rest in Denver, where they barely, they didn't even score 100 points at least and all too as well. I think Indiana and the way they play too as well, maybe a benefit to them because they play fast all the time just to get back out there after this is going to be the shortest rest in this finals and all. Game 3 was Wednesday, and Game 4 is going to be today on Friday at least, and too as well. So that everyone's getting a 48-hour break. We saw how OKC played against Denver after 36 hours and all, and I didn't like that. It doesn't even make sense why they did that. Anyway, honestly, I'm curious how OKC comes. This is the finals, so you do expect them to get it all out at least, and all too. So, but still, they have shown the ability outside of that Denver series to get blown out in a game in the playoffs at least, losing by 40 to the Memphis Grizzlies, down almost 30 to the Memphis Grizzlies until Ja got hurt at least, and then down 40 plus points to the Minnesota Timberwolves at least too as well. So they've shown the ability at least on this postseason to get blown out at least. Indy has not played their best game yet. It could come in Game 4, honestly, too, as well, the second game, and all, too, as well. We saw how much better OKC played in their second game at home. Could set up for the Pacers to do the same thing, and all, too, as well. If there was a game I feel like OKC should have won, probably should have been Game 3, honestly. Same way Indy stole that game in Game 1. I think Game 3 was that game for OKC, honestly. So I'm curious on how this game plays out. If I had a prediction, at least, I think just based on how things have played out and all, look how the Pacers weren't able to win game threes, and look what they did on Wednesday, at least on two as well. And I really think because of the different scenario and all, in those previous game threes, I believe they were up 2-0 in every of those series, against the Bucks, against the Cleveland Cavaliers, against the Knicks. Yes, they were up 2-0, at least in all. If I wanna fact check myself real quick, I wanna check the Bucks. Yeah, they won in 5, so they must have won the first 2 games. Yeah, they won the first 2 games. Yeah, they won the first 2 games of that series, at least. So yeah, I think that's a big contributor on why they lost game threes over the past 3 series and all. And I think this is why you had a different result this time, with the series being 1-1, at least on 2 as well. I'm looking at how the series is played out right now, honestly, where OKC kept it a game, Indy was able to steal it. Indy kept it a game, but they were able to take it from OKC. And I really think if OKC was able to make some free throws in the last half of the minute of the fourth quarter, I think they could have forced it to overtime, honestly, too, as well. It was sitting as a balance as a 6-point game, honestly. Jalen Williams and Casey Wallace missed some big free throws, honestly, so I really feel like they had a chance to steal that game if they were able to make their free throws, at least on 2 as well. It just takes one big 3 with 2 seconds left, at least, and all. We're seeing what Tyrese does, at least on 2 as well. But I am expecting, like the same way I kind of expected OKC to blow them out, I would have been surprised if they didn't, and all. And that's why I'm impressed with Indy to stay connected even in the blowout, at least on 2 as well. I'm teetering on saying that this blowout could be more of what we saw from Minnesota, at least not 2 as well, because this is the first game we really saw Tyrese Haliburton, and this is in the second half, of him being aggressive. If he can be aggressive in the first half of this basketball game tonight, I don't know, honestly, because there's always someone coming with him when he drops some big points, honestly, too, as well. We got Siakam there. Miles Turner, in my opinion, is a poised for a big game and all, too, as well. The shots are there. I just think his approach has been bad in the first half, at least. So if he can change that approach a bit, that same approach that he's bringing in the second half, at least, because he's shown the ability to dominate Chet, at least, too, as well. I'm curious if Mark Daigneault is going to continue playing Isaiah Hartenstein 18 minutes. I was trying to bring that up earlier, at least, but I wanted to hold that off, at least. But I don't like the lineup. I brought that up. I think I brought that up in game 1, too, as well, after game 1. I don't like the lineup of Hartenstein, Dort, you know what I mean, Jalen Williams, Shea, and who else they got in there? Case and Wallace, at least. I'm not a fan of that. I just don't get why don't they go all white, at least on 2 as well, just to be funny. At least, no, but why not play Isaiah Hartenstein? Why not play Chet Holmgren? Why not play Caruso? I mean, I feel like Caruso is your second to third best player. Jalen Williams showed out in game 3, so I'll settle down with that agenda. At least, no, where Caruso is the second best player on the OKC, at least, no. But it's inconsistencies, though, from those 2 other players, at least, from Chet and Jalen Williams, why I like Caruso being their second best player, and why I think he should be starting, at least, because he's just your most consistent player outside of Shea, at least, even though I am happy of the 3-point fourth quarter performance by Shea, at least, because it stops all the Tatum haters, at least, for a moment, at least, but still, what's it called there? He is outside of that quarter, at least. He's going to be your most consistent player for OKC. I'm curious if Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren can be your second best. I think Caruso is, and I think it would be huge by Mark Daigneault if he started Caruso and all. I don't know. I don't know if he's doing it, but it would be. I think it would be awesome for their team, at least, and all, if they started Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Chet Holmgren, honestly, too, as well. I think it would bring a whole lot more physicality for them, at least. So it's not like Lou Dort's not physical, but I just think the physicality would change a bit more if you're able to, especially in the paint, at least, and all, too, as well. But that'd be. I just think without a move like that, I just think Indiana is poised to command this game. And it wouldn't surprise me if they blow the OKC up by 20. I won't say the Minnesota blowout, because losing by 40 the way they played is crazy, at least, no. But I am curious how they're going to come off of 48 hours of rest, at least, no, too, as well. I'm trying to remember how things played out in the Denver series outside of that 36-hour game, at least, no, because it's not like that's not the only. I mean, what's it called there? Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, let's just say that, at least, no, because they barely scored 100 points and all, too, as well. Maybe with the 48 hours, an extra 12 hours makes a difference, at least, no, too, as well. I'm curious, at least, no, because I've seen Indy show up, within the 48-hour, one day, and obviously OKC has too, as well. That's why I don't want to go too deep into it. But I am curious how tired they looked, at least, no, at the end of Game 3. Coming off of the shortest rest in this series, at least, I'm curious if that could be a factor, at least, too, as well. So that's why I bring that up, at least, too. I don't think it'll be an overriding factor, at least, but I do look at, OKC being very, very fatigued, after Game 3 at least. I wonder how long will it take for them to recover as a team at least. I don't think it lasts throughout the whole series or anything like that, but off of a short rest, from Wednesday to Friday at least and then showing what they showed in that 36-hour window against Denver at least. They won the game, and Denver didn't look just as good either, so it can factor the Pacers too as well. But I am curious just how tired OKC looked as a team off of Game 3 at least. Can they get themselves, prepared enough? Just, condition-wise for Game 4 at least too as well. So that's my preview for Game 4. That's what I thought of Game 3 and Game 2 at least too as well. I wonder where my timestamp is. Curious if I can find it. I'm at 20 minutes. I kind of expected I was going to have a short episode at least. I can mention the Knicks real quick too as well, because I had some technical difficulties too as well. And I said, who are the coaches? Okay, let me go on X real quick. Let me find this. It's Udoka Thibodeau. I don't know if I got the name right, but it's Udoka that they requested, Jason Kidd. I'm trying to think. Billy Donovan, Quinn Snyder. There's someone else I'm sleeping on. Sleeping on right now. There's a little plan I want to bring up with the Knicks real quick, but I'm just trying to remember the coach that they requested an interview and got denied. I just can't remember. Chris Finch, there it is. I knew I have to sort through the teams to finally find it at least. But yeah, they requested permission to interview Chris Finch of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who's been to back-to-back Western Conference Finals. Udoka, who's been to a Finals and took a team that barely won 40 games last year, and took them to the number 2 seed of the Western Conference this year, at least on Ime Udoka and all. Who else? Jason Kidd, who's gone to a Finals, at least too as well. And 2 others. Billy Donovan, who's been to a Conference Finals and all. So that's why I wasn't so weirded out when I heard the news at least. Quinn Snyder though, thrown off as hell why they're interested in Quinn Snyder at least. Maybe the Trae Young thing at least too as well. But still, I was trying to give the Knicks credit, saying maybe they just chopping for the top at least too as well, but it seems to look like they don't have a plan for their new head coach and too as well. And I don't think they're finding a coach anytime soon at least because again, they didn't have a plan, so now they're probably formulating a plan as we speak right now, honestly. So again, disappointed on why they fired Tom Thibodeau and all. You've looked at the last 3 teams that are in the finals that are from the Eastern Conference, lost in the Eastern Conference Finals the year prior. The Knicks were set up to go to the finals if they just added a piece here and there. And I think I brought this up in a previous episode too as well. This is what I'm worried about, and this is what they're setting themselves up to be. I'll give them a chance on what they can build for a roster over the next month and a half at least too as well. But still, you're putting yourself in a position where you have to start over. You're not building on what you did last year. That's why I give credit to the teams, and again, like the Toronto Raptors too as well, even the Milwaukee Bucks too as well. When they finally won the championships, they went through the struggle and all, and the Bucks had themselves a struggling coach too as well, and Budenholzer, who was talked about being fired before winning that championship and all, but they stuck with him and they added more, like trading for Jrue Holiday at least too as well. Same thing with the Raptors too as well. Same thing with the Raptors too as well, and this is why I'm giving the Knicks a chance at least. The Raptors were able to trade for Kawhi Leonard at least too as well. So that's why I'm giving them a chance on what they add to their roster at least. Kevin Durant seems to be the player that makes sense in this type of comparison at least too as well. So I don't think they got the pieces to do it. Let's see. I'm trying to think if the Raptors gave up, they gave up DeMar DeRozan, at least not for Kawhi Leonard, so I guess that's the big piece. I was trying to remember who they gave up for Kawhi. So you are looking at Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby type of situation and all, too, is where you're going to have to get. I don't think or Cat, at least. It's those 2 or Cat, at least, and all, too, as well. To bring the team up at least and all too as well. It's an interesting move for the Knicks at least and all too as well. I think it's really about what you add around at least and all, but I don't like this Tibbs move if you don't make a trade like that, at least not too as well. They seem to be in the mix. It seems to be Kevin Durant seems to be interested too as well, honestly. So fair game, at least not to the Knicks. I still don't like firing Tibbs. But if you're able to get Kevin Durant and get the right pieces around that too as well, I feel like outside of why I hate the move because of the Eastern Conference Finals participants in the finals, losing prior conference finals at least, got them to that point. You look at the Pacers, 2 wins away winning a championship. The Celtics, last season at least, the Miami Heat a couple seasons back, and they lost at least, because even though at that point at least I'm happy they're the team that lost at least, I remember the Raptors. They had their past struggles against LeBron at least, until finally getting Kawhi. LeBron leaving the Eastern Conference, but still they got Kawhi, and they were able to get over the hump at least, Then the the Bucks there too as well. So I think the 2 years prior, they won their championship. They lost in the conference finals to those Toronto Raptors at least, too as well. So again, if the Knicks don't make a big move like getting against Kevin Durant, because he is the biggest move apparently right now. Giannis is apparently off the market as of now at least, too as well. If they don't make a move like that, and you fire your coach coming off of a conference finals appearance, first time in a quarter century at least, too as well, 25 years at least and all. I don't like firing Tibbs at all, at least too as well. Again, that's why I brought up the Raptors. Dwayne Casey's coming off a Coach of the Year type of situation, but again loses to LeBron. They fire him to bring in Nick Nurse at least and then they get Kawhi a couple of weeks before training camp or something like that starts in 2019 at least, or 2018. From that point, because they won in 2019 at least enough, but still, if the Knicks don't make a move like that, I just hate what they did to Tibbs at least too as well. 4 straight playoff appearances. I'm trying to think of a time since the last time they made the finals when they went to 4 straight playoffs at least too. So I don't even think Melo did anything like that too as well, if I remember correctly. 2013, obviously, maybe 2014. I don't remember going to the playoffs in 2015, 2016, 2017 and all, but if they did, they did. Shit, honestly, I don't remember it. But I remember when, I'm remembering now, I'm tangenting, but when I'm remembering LeBron going back to Cleveland, I just don't remember the Knicks ever being on the playoffs at that time, too, as well. When LeBron was in Miami, I remember the Knicks going to the playoffs at that time, at least. I don't think they went to the playoffs all 4 years LeBron was there, at least, too. It was, I think, 12, 13, maybe 14. They went to the playoffs and all too as well, but I don't think they made it 15 and all. But still, that's the only period I can remember them ever going to 4 straight playoffs and all. Then you have a coach that finally did it, and he did the best out of all those 4 years at least. And now you fire him and all too as well. As a lot of, like I said, I believe in the whole perception idea or take is the reason why he got fired and all. And then the more you hear, the players are probably more involved too as well. Honestly, I just don't think I'm not saying the players got fired, but the players probably didn't speak glowingly about him too, and on their exit interviews and all too as well. So it didn't help, and management's looking at the whole situation all too as well. But interesting situation what the Knicks got themselves into. They think they're the Lakers and all too as well, because they think they can talk to any coach they want and all. And then add in your Dan Hurleys and your Jay Wrights of the world too as well. Saying that they're not interested in going to Rick Pitino too as well. They're not interested in going to the Knicks too as well. I don't even think the Knicks even called them and all too. Just putting it out there because it's such a media storm and all too as well. Because it is the New York Knicks. They're just not the Los Angeles Lakers, or in recent history at least, and all, with my Boston Celtics and all. Their prestige in a different way, not in basketball sense, just more in money and in business sense at least and all too as well, not basketball sense and all. But we're going on. I got 30 minutes, I got 29 minutes and all too as well. I guess I got myself a short episode finally too as well. Any NFL news I can jump into? Not really. Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, we already did that. Antonio Brown, I guess, is what's it called there? The police are seeking for him for arrest at least and all too as well. I won't dig into the charges at least and all, because everyone's presumed innocent at least and all too as well, apparently in this country and all too as well. But if you've heard the Sean Kemp situation, I think about a year or 2 years ago, whenever that was at least and all, it's a similar situation at least and all too as well. So we'll see how that eyes out too as well, honestly. But I got no NFL news. We're less than like 100 days away to the season at least and all. Mini camp kind of started and it's about to end real quick at least and all for these NFL teams. So nothing really presuming in NFL wise. Baseball, I would love to dig in, but the Sox are kind of figuring themselves out now, so we'll see. Very exciting to see Christian Campbell, Marcelo Meyer, and Roman Anthony, the Roman Empire, from 48 to 19 now too as well. And then proceeds to have himself a 2 RBI game after all that too as well. But as a Sox fan, very damn excited about something like that at least not too as well. We'll see if they can carry that energy into the team and they can continue winning these series and all. Big series against the Yankees at Fenway coming up this weekend too as well. But that's all I got and all. I'm sorry for the little technical difficulties and all. If you guys peeped it, if I cleaned it up, never mind what I'm saying and all. But again, if you guys are listening on the YouTube side, press on that subscribe button. If you guys are listening on the podcast platform side, please leave us a rating and all too as well. Too again, help support the podcast and all too as well. But again, this is Ralph Mentor signing off. At least I guess I'm changing up my ending too as well, to help carry up the tangent I've been doing and all too as well. But again, appreciate you guys listening. We'll talk soon. Either after game 4. I won't be game 4 because I cannot keep up the episode per game type of thing and all too as well. The excitement's not the same as the Celtics and all, but presumably I probably after game 5 at least and all. And as a resident Pacer fan right now, hopefully they go up 3-1. Going into game 5 at least and all too as well. But we'll talk soon. I appreciate it.